Ace of Cake star Duff Goldman seemingly had it all until a drunk driver nearly cost him everything, including his life. Goldman is an avid motorcyclist, a hobby that got its start when he designed and baked a cake in the shape of a motorcycle. As part of the project, the dealership that commissioned the confection gave Goldman an actual motorcycle. With a high-performance bike in his garage, the TV chef took it upon himself to learn how to ride. In 2014, Goldman told Us Weekly, "I love motorcycles, they're part of my soul." In 2012, Goldman suffered a brutal crash on his bike that cost him a few toes. According to Goldman, his family and friends all made him swear to give up the hobby after the accident, but he just couldn't stay away, and it led to a newfound appreciation for life. There was about an 8-month period where I didn't ride bikes, and every time I would see a bike go by, I was like, I can't do it anymore. Ultimately, Goldman said he came to terms with the fact that life is precious and decided that the joy of riding was worth the risk. It didn't scare me. It just made me make the choice to say, I'm doing something that is very dangerous, but it's something I love. The motorcycle accident was scary enough, but it wasn't the worst accident Goldman has been involved with. In 2024, Goldman revealed on his Instagram page that he was involved in a serious accident that left him with significant injuries to his right hand that he feared could impact his baking career. He wrote, "On my way home from the airport, I was thinking about what kind of cake I was going to make for my daughter's birthday. Next thing I knew, I was bleeding and surrounded by airbags. A drunk driver had swerved into my lane on a windy country road."
Losing function in this, that would be terrifying.
Goldman said he felt lucky to walk away, but it was a scary incident that should never have happened. It's gonna be a long road to recovery, and for someone like me who makes a living with my hands, you can imagine that this is no joke. There's no excuse for driving drunk. None. Known for his big smile and effortless enthusiasm, Goldman is also recognized for his large frame, and his weight is something that he's found challenging for years. In 2018, he told Bicycling.com, "I've struggled with weight since college. I sometimes have to try 24 desserts a day." Goldman revealed that things changed when he took up bicycling as a hobby, though it wasn't easy. The first time he tried, he gave up after 2 weeks, but he decided to give it another try. The following year, I got a Giant Defy brand road bike and started training more seriously. It got to be fun to see how far I could go. When I rode the 50 miles to Palos Verdes and back, it was an incredible feeling. Within a few years, Goldman had shed almost 30 pounds, which he attributed to simple exercise and eating better. I'll never not love cake. I love cake, but with riding, everything pushes everything else. Eating cleaner and feeling better makes me ride more because it feels good. Emotional trauma sustained during childhood has the potential to affect a person in ways they don't expect as they get older. When Goldman was a child, his parents divorced, leaving scars that took decades to heal. He told People magazine that it soured him on the entire concept of marriage. "My parents had a really nasty divorce. I was like, cool, I don't ever want any of that, so I'm not getting married. I was just like, I'm not into it." That changed when he met Jonna Colbury. The two fell in love in 2016 and did indeed get married 3 years later. In 2021, they welcomed their first child. A career in the kitchen isn't for the faint of heart. Whether it's ruining an elaborate dish by misjudging an ingredient or slipping and falling in a puddle of grease, the back of the house isn't a place for prying eyes, as even the most experienced chefs have probably been involved in a few blunders over the years. In an Us Weekly interview, Duff Goldman talked about what had to be his most cringe-inducing incident in the kitchen that happened when he was working for another chef earlier in his career. "My most embarrassing moment was when I got pantsed in an open kitchen with no underwear on. The whole dining room saw it, and by it, you know what I mean." Unfortunately, Goldman wasn't even in a position to fix his malfunctioning wardrobe because he was too busy baking. "The chef was yelling at me to pull my pants up, and I told him that I didn't pull them down. So he made the cook that did it pull my pants up."
My dignity has been gone for years.
It can be easy to imagine that a celebrity and TV personality like Duff Goldman lives an easy, pleasure-filled life devoid of real problems. Nevertheless, even the rich and famous have their personal issues, and for Goldman, it's a struggle with self-doubt and anxiety that has plagued him all his life. And surprisingly, it got even worse after Ace of Cakes became a huge hit. He explained on Imposters with Alex Lieberman, "Your insecurities, your anxieties, your fears, all the things that make you do all the dumb things you do, everybody has them." Goldman revealed that he frequently psychs himself up before big public events by reminding himself that those insecurities are indeed universal, and they help us survive. He also revealed that he lifts weights to relax. "I do a lot of different things, but I love to lift heavy things. Putting on music and lifting is great." Goldman told the Sporkful podcast that while the anxiety never goes away, these coping mechanisms help him handle it. "I'm still terrified of stuff. The thing is that you never stopped being terrified because you're still doing stupid stuff, but you learn how to deal with it." Goldman nearly lost it all before he catapulted to fame on the Food Network. Early in his career, he'd taken a prestigious gig at the French Laundry, a 3-Michelin-star restaurant in Los Angeles, and he equated getting hired there to getting admitted to Harvard. Sadly, it wasn't a good experience because it stifled his creativity. He said on the Sporkful podcast, "One thing I learned is that kind of environment is not a very good fit for me. I mean, you can probably imagine that would be a square peg in a round hole, right?" Following a crisis of faith about his career, Goldman found himself at a crossroads and walked away. Left with nothing, he got a job baking bread at a hotel before briefly quitting baking altogether to become a musician. There, he found some success, even playing with the legendary Maryland outfit Clutch, for whom he later baked a celebratory cake on Ace of Cakes. But he couldn't get baking out of his bones, making cakes on the side to pay the bills.
Here's the thing. I actually started decorating cakes because I was trying to be a full-time musician.
After getting a gig as a personal chef, he finally decided it was time to take a chance on himself, even though it was terrifying. Goldman added, "When I quit my job as a personal chef and I woke up the next day, I had no paycheck. I had enough money in my bank account that I could pay my bills for about 2 months if I didn't sell a single cake. I was like, all right, I got 2 months to start making money. You just don't have a choice. Like, I don't have a choice. I have to succeed." Thankfully, Goldman was able to make ends meet by making cakes, and before long, had started his own bakery, Charm City Cakes, and the rest is history. In 2017, Duff Goldman wrote a scathing op-ed for People, criticizing the infamous incident in which a baker refused to make a cake for a gay wedding, leading to widespread backlash. He staunchly supported the customers who were suing the bakery at the time, a tolerant attitude which may stem from dealing with antisemitism as a young Jewish person growing up in Baltimore. In a discussion with the Cornell Daily Sun, Goldman spoke about how he endured antisemitism in school, and that the problem only got worse with his growing fame and the rise of social media. He said that in his school days, he'd often get into fights with bigoted bullies, but that he has different and more peaceful ways of dealing with the problem today. When you approach it with a little bit of humor and gently teach people, sometimes people listen. Duff Goldman graduated from the University of Maryland with multiple degrees, but nothing related to his future occupation as a baker. Instead, he earned degrees in history and philosophy before he enrolled in the Culinary Institute of America. In 2002, he founded Charm City Cakes, and 4 years later, he was given his own TV show on the Food Network about the day-to-day challenges in his bakery, Ace of Cakes. However, fame and fortune aren't always what they're cracked up to be, and for Goldman, they created new and unexpected problems. For starters, the perception customers had of him and his bakery began to change now that he was at the center of a reality TV show, and with his success came imitators like Cake Boss. Customers began seeing cakes as part of pop culture, and they didn't just want a special treat, but an elaborate project like on their favorite episodes. Goldman told Huffington Post, "Cake decorating TV was getting pretty saturated, and Charm City Cakes was getting painted with the same brush that other TV bakeries were. We were getting pigeonholed into doing one kind of cake, the crazy ones with lights and motors and stuff, which I love, they're great, but we do a lot of wedding cakes and people just forgot that."